I'm Margo Sorum of Yoga Therapists of Alaska, and today we're going to go through lateral bends. And lateral bends are among my favorite postures because they're unusual. We don't always do them. Kind of long gone are the days where we lean over and roll down car windows. We're kind of using buttons. And for those of us that are short, we tend to outsource our movements to the tall people. And we say, hey, can you reach up into that cupboard for me? So the suggestions are start using your body more in these directions. And you're going to feel this deep in the transverse abdominals and the obliques. It's a fabulous thing. We also want to really start to wake up this lateral seam of the body. It's going to help us for walking and for all our sports, because we tend to be a little quad dominant and hamstring weak. And we need to bridge that by making a strong medial and lateral leg line. So we want to get these adductors stronger and these IT band tensor fasciolata lines much stronger. And that's what these lateral bends will help do. So sit cross-legged, and then let's turn this left leg out. I'll mirror you. And then lean on over to that side. And already, keep leaning this hip down, you'll start to feel the lateral stretch. Take this right arm out, turn the palm over and come up. It might pull you out of the pose a little bit, get longer, and then bend your elbow and lean over. Breathe. Straighten this top elbow, bend this bottom knee, bottom elbow, and then make your way back up. And already feel the difference of how much taller you are. And then turn this leg out. The hips might be grossly uneven. And yes, I would say prop up higher, but we might not have props, so do the best you can. Lean over, take this arm out, turn the palm up, go up. Oh, straighten it out, and then lean over. So this is a lateral flexion on this side, and it's a lateral extension, a rainbow on this side. And make your way back out. So oftentimes when we think of the lateral bend, we think of the stretch from the waist all the way through the sides of the armpits. But we also want to start to challenge this lateral movement in the legs. So come and lie on your side. Start up on your elbow. So your elbow is directly underneath your elbow. And then this is the key move. A lot of times when we're on our sides, we're leaning back. But we need to roll so that these iliac crests are forward, and it's like they're leaning forward to kiss the wall. And if you did the prone back bends, when we tip forward, you are contracting a little bit at S1, L5 and stabilizing this pose on the side. So already we're in a lateral stretch here on the rib cage. And your scapula could go down and up, and that has a difference. But I'm going to kind of push into the elbow and stay high. Use your hand to lean against, keep those hips forward. And now we're going to focus on the legs. We're going to abduct. Now notice my foot. I'm leading with my heel. So it's like I'm staying in Tadasana the whole time. I'm not going duck-footed. So keep the toes pointed downwards. And then really feel that this leg is so heavy, like there's a TheraBand in between your feet, and it's going to work the glute medius. This is the muscle we want to get very strong. Hold here and pause at the top and push into your bottom leg. Don't. Bottom leg, don't. It's kind of like feeling like that listing movement we've done before. And it's a little bit of a lower leg abduction. It creates a little mini leg lift. Good, and then bring that down. Slide all the way out on your arm. Maybe I need to move this way. Okay, good. And then you're gonna balance, so make sure the hips stay forward. Take your top arm all the way up and over. This is called Urdhva Hastasana, arms overhead pose. See if you can stay like that as you come into your Vrikshasana, your tree pose on the side. And then see if the knee can come in and hold. Bend your bottom elbow and come up. And we're making our way into, you have to balance here, Anantasana. Maybe you can reach your shin or the toe. Just see where you get to. And this will be instructive a little bit later on in the sequence. Do your best to hold and maintain that last pose the best you can as you make your way back out. Practicing your balance in between. And then lean your way up. And we'll switch sides. Stay up on your elbow. Shift the hips forward and kiss the wall with your pelvis, your ASIS. And then focus on that top leg and the heel leading the movement. The heel leading the movement. I usually do time this and do 10 leg lifts just up and down. And think of them as being slow and torturous like a TheraBand. And then focus on your bottom leg for 10, 9, push, lean, activate, just a few more. Whew. Good, and lower that down. Slide this bottom arm out. Make the fingertips meet, keep rolling your hips forward. Slide this top leg up and find Vrikshasana. Bend your elbow, knee comes in. Whoop. Maybe use your hand for a little bit of an assist. And then bring it up to Anantasana. And notice that I'm not compromising my spine to bring my hand all the way to my foot. Oh, maybe it reaches, maybe it doesn't. That's fine. And bring that in. Wow, this side is so much harder for me. You'll notice this. One side might be not as stable. And bring that down. Come on up. All right, hands and knee time. In this position, we're going to practice Chakrasana. You're going to drop the elbows down and the hips go back. You're rounding your spine. Now inhale, use your hands. Lift the chest and anterior pelvis. Posterior pelvis, drop the elbows, drop the hips. Anterior pelvis, come forward. And just combining those two movements a couple of times. This is a lovely neutralizing pose. It's really nice after those back bends too. And then this time, we're going to come forward, take this leg out to the side, and make a 90-degree angle. Twist. Take the arm up and reach up. Turn the palm forward and think of that lateral bend, that rainbow shape as you bring the arm overhead. So you're getting that lateral stretch here and a little lateral flexion down there. Bringing that down, and just switch over to your other side. Step that other foot out, maybe windmill, and bring that arm up and overhead. Bring that back down. Take your Chakravakasana. As you come back up onto hands and knees, this front leg goes all the way back and turns down, and use that outer side of the foot. Windmill, press your pelvis towards the wall and come up and overhead into your lateral stretch. We'll come down and switch to the other side, up and overhead. And back down. As you go into this Chakravakasana, I usually invite my students to take their hands forward and strengthen, stretch, and flex and extend the wrists a little bit. And then we're coming up for our main pose. We'll see if my slippers let me do it. Come back into a plank, and then pivot onto that right foot. This is the key move. Get your hips up super high, and the arm comes up. I am shifting my pelvis forward to keep that really good alignment. So it feels a little bit like a lateral bend and a little bit like a back bend. If you need to adapt that, you could always step that foot forward and get the hips up. And then we pivot to the other side. And you'll see this. My students have been commenting on how they've never been taught to do the Vasisthasana like this, but they like it. They're lifting the hips up high, getting the arm up and overhead. You can see it helps put the shoulder blade into the back, and it really helps get the right bone alignment. And then we rest. come up to kneeling. And there's a bunch of poses that can be done kneeling. And they're kind of called gate poses or variations of this. One leg goes out, the elbow comes down, and you take the arm up and overhead. This is kind of that side angle type pose. The leg could be straight and you come out. The toe could be pointed or the toe could be turned in. So these are a lot of variations that you might want to play with your students at different times to practice these lateral bends. And they all feel a little different. So play with them so that you can cue them well and kind of explain the experience. My favorite standing lateral bend, arm goes up, slide down the side and look down. Keep the hips back. So it tends to turn into a twist, so back it up. And bring it down. Come back up, slide down. And you have to kind of depress that hip back a little bit so that you get the full benefit of that stretch into the ribs and come back down. The triangle pose is definitely considered a lateral stretch. So keeping the alignment lovely for that variation of getting that lateral stretch into it. We can also adapt that triangle pose for a pose that looks a little bit more like this. So there's a lot of variations that go on. I'd like to do a couple of the advanced movements that combine these movements we've been working on. I think I need to take my slippers off. So let me go through this as a little bit of a flow, and you can watch this and then maybe do it. The inhale takes you up. Exhale, forward fold. Take your left leg back, and you're going to go directly into Vasisthasana and lift the hips up nice and high. Wild thing. This top leg goes behind you, the other foot turns, and you're in this lovely twisting back bend. It's really fun. Maybe some of your students can come into the full back bend. Keep your hips up as you transition, and then you're ready for your other side. And I will show this from the back. Again, hoist your hips up high. That's the key move. Step that top leg behind, turning that into a little bit more of a wild thing. This is called the wild thing. And you could do any number of wild things there. But do it incrementally. Turn the foot back, come back, and then you come down. And you can rest. The last movement is kind of a combination and a pairing of all of those. You come up to the hands and knees, take the legs into plank, pivot, lift the hips up super high, and come into the tree pose. You've already done this before laying on your side, but now you're balancing on your arm, and maybe the leg can go up. And maybe you fall out of it, but that's okay, because you know how to do wild thing. So these are all these different variations that you can practice, and you can up level and down level. And this is how the little stages end up turning into these more complex poses. Namaste.